Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop pod thing. Hello readership, I hope you're well. Are you listening to us on an app? Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts? Are you listening to us on Spotify? If you are, we would be so grateful if you were to open up the magic thing you use and rate us. Give us a lovely, nice rating. If you do, the algorithm, in ways that we don't fully or even slightly understand, makes us more visible. And then, for some reason, that's a good thing. I don't know why it's a good thing. Anyway, on we go. No news or information. Social media, as usual, at Billowing Hilltop on Twix, at Billowing Hilltop on everything else. Please email us with stuff. hello@billowinghilltop.com. Anything, questions, anything really. I mean, try and keep it on subject because we'll read it out. There we are, that's it. I've got no other news or information, so let us push on with episode 177 of the Billowing Hilltop pod thing. Who's that lady? Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. How is everyone?
Oh, full.
Well, full of what? What are you full of?
Christmas
Yeah,
cheer.
full of what?
Full of crap.
Easter egg,
Beans.
because it's
Full
after
of
Easter,
crap.
obviously.
Thank you, Paul. Embrace the fiction. As Easter approaches, our thoughts turn to eggs.
Actually, to be honest with
Carnival and Lent
tonight-
first.
Isn't it Burns night?
tonight I cooked
Pancakes,
I
anyone?
I think it might be the Feast of the Third Wise Virgin.
Toad in the Hole. And
Not a
do you
euphemism.
remember the first D&D weekend when I made that
You
steak
made a suet pudding.
suet pudding and we left indents in the lino floor because...
We did. I think that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
then.
it was about 30 years
Maybe
ago.
more.
Yeah.
Readers, we've been doing this
Far too
thing,
long.
yeah, far too long, where we get together a couple of times a year. We normally hire a neutral ground,
Like
kind
an
of,
FA Cup semi-final?
yes, exactly like the semi-final of the FA Cup, and we head off into the countryside and we play at the grand gathering of the Hilltop. We play D&D for a few days, and yeah, it's 30 years, and the first one was in Lincolnshire. I remember it very well.
It's
Well,
all changed
I
these
remember
days,
it
isn't it?
slightly.
Lincolnshire, was it?
Because the choice of drink,
It was in Lincolnshire, Johnny.
the choice of food and the choice of drink
Where was
was
the
a lot
Lincolnshire
different.
It was in
Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire, Johnny.
I can't remember that.
That's where it was. The
There was
Lincolnshire one.
slightly more adventurous
Yeah,
days, let's just say.
Well, what we did is this concept of what we call a competition dungeon.
Yes.
What we did, readers, and this is something that you may want to try at home, is we divided our little group of people, I think there were 8 of us, into 2 rooms, and we had 2 DMs, and the 2 DMs ran an adventure where the 2 parties were competing against each other in a shared space, and they could literally get to particular rooms or solve particular puzzles or overcome particular obstacles before the others and actually leave messages for the others to give them a sense of kind of whether they were falling behind or getting ahead. And we had some kind of construct about how you knew how well the others were doing. Can you remember how that worked? I can't remember how that
We
worked.
had bells, ringing of bells.
Bells, that's right. Yes, a bell would ring when the other party
Achieved a
had
goal.
completed another part. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It is really good fun. The lesson we learned is don't let the parties meet.
Yes.
Yes.
Chaos.
If you think it's bad when you've got arguments between
Jesus.
a party of adventurers and a dungeon master about whether or not this rule works in a particular way or whether or not somebody can duck round a corner and fire a what's it without being seen or whatever it might be, just try it when you've got 2 parties of adventurers arguing with each other.
Didn't you bring walkie-talkies one year or something?
Well, we did it. It got more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Well, one year, Lucas, you brought
Sickly
your
green
own
bean.
personal local area network that you strung up
Yeah,
with
yeah.
cabling across this poor woman's house out in Suffolk somewhere.
Oh, yeah. That's
It all got
right.
a little out of hand, readers, is
That
what we're
worked quite
saying.
well, actually, if I recall.
Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's talk vortices.
Hmm.
Now, we're into dreadful metagaming territory here because we're going to pick up the story with Scaly and Parker and Buggy as they descend through a vortex that Burple, in fact, discovered in the corner of Krathanos' keep on Tilagos Island. Now, Burple and Sessions, therefore, don't know what is happening to the others.
No.
Burple and Sessions, you must behave.
Okay.
I'm going to put
We'll just laugh.
the 3 of you on... Well, we could do this in the broom cupboard.
I was about to say, but that would just not be very fair on Dan and Graham, who would just sit there.
They shouldn't know what's going on. Should do it in the broom
I'll go
cupboard.
make a cup of tea.
Broom cupboard. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go and jump into the
tea. Yeah, I'm gonna go make some tea.
Okay, put you on another map.
It's the netherworld.
You come spinning out of the vortex. All of a sudden, that sense of being stretched through space and time having no meaning all suddenly compresses down, and there's this weird sense of momentum, and you are flung into, well, a space that looks just like the keep that you were in, except that everything is sapped of all colour. You feel you're on the shadow plane. You're in the shadow realm. But unlike your experience of the shadow realm thus far, an element of the normal world seems to be seeping through the vortex and spilling out into the immediate environs of the vortex. So where you're standing, life feels like normal, but past a certain point, everything is grey and gloomy. You can hear an odd keening wail that seems to be coming from through the shadow equivalent of the gateway of the keep to your south, and through the gateway of the keep to your south, you can see a bit of reality, like the ground continues. The boulders, for example, that the gorilla was resting upon, was that last week? Anyway, whenever it was, they are there. But much beyond that, everything seems to dissipate into a misty, foggy, dark haze. In the centre of the keep, with, assuming her back to you, is the figure of a woman. She is monochrome. Her hair is plucked at by an unseen breeze, as is the hem of her flowing dress. What do you want to do? She doesn't react to your presence.
Let's move onwards.
The three of you have brought presents, I assume, gold, frankincense and myrrh. You can see the
Medusa,
back of her head.
Does it look like a writhing head?
No, not at all. Absolutely not, no.
I'm going to
Apart from the snakes.
kind of move to mid-distance between where we were.
Yes, Scaly. So you're reaching the edge of this area where the world of colour is spreading through the vortex into this world of shadow. And as you get to that border, you feel colder.
Yeah.
And you feel... Do you remember when you first jumped through the portal using the crystals into the Telagos Island mini, demi, semi, hemiquaver magiplane bubble? I was talking about how colours seemed brighter,
Yeah.
the experiences seemed richer, sound seemed crisper. Well,
Opposite.
that sense is dissipated rapidly as you approach the edge of this coloured area here.
Okay. I will clear my throat. Take a long puff on my cigar. Go, excuse me, what's going on?
No reaction. Parker?
No, I'm just going to let Scaly approach her first.
Buggy?
Hang back.
I'm going to move southwards along the east wall, so I'm almost directly east of her.
Looking over her left shoulder, as it were. That far south, you've fully left the area where the colour is bleeding through into this space.
But I
And
feel
you're in
my
the
axe
full...
is
Yes.
revitalised.
The further you move away from the vortex, and the more the colour around you diminishes, the more filled with power your axe becomes.
I still can't see her face.
No.
Which is a bit creepy.
From that angle, you can make out maybe the side of her head a little bit, an ear perhaps.
Can
Does
I...
she look like she's looking at something or captivated by something?
You can't see her face, so there's no way of knowing.
Can I have an action?
Sure.
I'd like to do my divine sense. Detect good and evil.
Okay.
Until the end of your next turn, sense anything affected by the Hallow spell, or know the location of any celestial fiend undead within 60 foot that is not behind total cover.
First of all, she is undead. 100%.
Okay.
60 feet, did you say?
Yeah.
You get the sense that through the gateway, there is some kind of miasma, mist, or something that is setting off your divine sense. It's not a specific undead creature. It's more like you've hit undead central.
Okay.
Right. I'll leave you in the broom cupboard briefly, and I'm going to jump back into the other room, talk to Dan and Graham about what they want to do.
Okay.
Second-hand mini.
Hello.
Hello. All right.
Well,
They're all dead.
what do you want to do? They've been gone for a little bit.
No sign of these other guys.
No, nothing else is happening. sky is a slate grey, the snow is still falling, your little scavenger friends have disappeared, and Krathanos and his monkeys are asleep.
Are they?
Well, Krathanos is asleep and the monkeys are in their cages.
How heavy does the belt look?
Very heavy. Give me what is it, an intelligence check? Have you got any kind of a saying or any kind of skills that relate?
Insight.
No, insight is to do with intent. I'm really thinking about your ability to make an assessment. Just give me a straight intelligence check.
Get a massive.
You do get a massive.
Yeah.
An 18. You reckon it would weigh twice as much as Parker, and it's big. It must be about 8 foot in diameter.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess a mage hand is not going to work in that case.
It's going to be a difficult thing to move about. Anything else you want to do before I jump back to the other side of the vortex?
What do you think, Graham? We either go into the vortex after them or we wait here? Quite happy waiting here.
Well, we'll give them a few more minutes, I guess.
All right. Let's give them a few more minutes.
Okay, I'll come back. Right. What do you want to do next?
Scaly is...
I will
So
move
there's no
basically to
response?
directly north of her in the same way as Buggy is directly...
So you're creating
East.
a square with the vortex in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
Buggy in the southeastern corner. Her in the southwestern corner, and Parker in the northwestern corner.
Yeah. Scaly
You
on
can
the
see
diagonal.
again over her shoulder. You can't see her face. She's looking away to the southwest.
I'm going to go up to 10 foot away from her, and then I'm going to use the rest of my move to circle around her, keeping a distance of about 10 foot. So I'm facing her.
When you do that, the strangest thing happens. As you start circling her, at the point that you feel that you would be just about to see more of her, you realise that she is moving, or the world is moving, and even though you're walking round her, she seems to be still facing just away from you.
Okay.
But, critically, Buggy and Parker, she's still looking away from you.
Yes.
Have you tried speaking to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which case, I will finish my move walking towards the exit.
You head down towards the gate of the
Yes.
shadow version of the keep.
Yeah.
Okay. You can see further and further out as you approach that shadow version of the gate, and it looks like where there is solid ground in the real world, there is solid ground in this shadow world, but only to a point, really out to where the boulders are, and then it becomes increasingly diffuse and insubstantial. It becomes a sort of grey, hazy, dark mist.
Okay.
Even without using your divine sense, the scales on the back of your neck go up. There's something out there, Scaly, not just a general aura.
Yeah.
There is something
Nasty.
out there.
There's something nasty.
There's nothing obvious to help us with Krathanos.
No, it seems to be a shadow version of the keep that you were in before.
I don't know what to do.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
No.
I'm going to check in with the others.
Do you think we should leave?
25 frames a second.
Well,
Hello.
you've been kicking about for a few minutes and nothing has happened. I can't
they
really
haven't
give you more
reappeared?
than that. No.
Well, should we
Wanna
wait
do
for?
anything?
Should we
Or-
wait for 10 minutes, Graham, or something like that?
Well, let's say 5 minutes. If
5
they haven't
minutes.
reappeared after 5 minutes, that's
go
quite a
looking for
long
them.
You'll
time
think again.
in the adventuring world. We would go and
Yes.
That's all I needed to know. See you in a tick.
Okay.
I'm saying that maybe we've got something else to do first.
Yeah, maybe another one of the tasks first.
I'd like to take a couple of rounds, Mike, to skirt around the outs. While Scaly's doing his circumnavigation of the woman, I'd like to search around the walls.
You could work your way around the inner perimeter of this place. There's this really strange effect. If you look over your shoulder or you take a moment to glance at this figure in the center of the keep, wherever you stand, you're never quite in a position to see her face. You can make your way all the way around. You can even stand in the gateway at the point where Scaly makes it there, and you're both standing there looking out into the grey miasma together. There's nothing moving. There's nothing happening. There's nothing different about this place, apart from the fact that it is drained of all colour and energy. There are no items or anything. There doesn't seem to be a significant diversion from the reality you've left, if that's what you're hoping to find.
My strong view is that we can't defeat him in a fight. Trying to negotiate or persuade him seems to be fraught with risk and may not be successful. So perhaps we've come at this in the wrong order.
Yeah, I agree.
And there might be something else somewhere else that helps us help him.
Yeah, need to go and do another one of the tasks first.
What do you want to do next?
Go back out of the vortex. That's what I want to do. There's nothing here I can see to help us without putting ourselves at potentially enormous risk.
Is that true for Buggy? Is that true for Parker?
Yeah.
Just trying to have a little bit of a think before we go. So the last couple of times we've been in these sort of vortex netherworlds, there's always been something that's given us a little bit of a clue, or the position. So I think the last time we had there was the ropey creature and the key or whatever, which we were able to retrieve.
There was a spider.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's obviously something nasty on the other side of the gate, and we can't see anything there. So, yes, going in that direction is probably going to involve
Do we have any more of those
combat.
crystals?
Yeah, we all had some of them, right?
Do the crystals, are they in any way different?
They have colour, unlike everything else.
It has its colour.
It has colour. It doesn't seem to make any difference to anything. It's not like the moment you retrieve it, anything changes, but it has colour. If you've got a crystal in your palm, you can feel the resonance that feels like that strangely brightly coloured, hyper reality that you've just left.
So one option would possibly be to tap this woman on the shoulder, but I'm presuming that will unleash some kind of nastiness. The odd thing is, so the one place under in the jungle,
The ziggurat.
that was where the key was in the netherworld that we had to go.
Yeah.
So this woman is right in the middle of the room. So did we notice anything right in the middle of the compound in the other world? We didn't, did we? It's
No.
just basically...
It's not a room. It's open to a dark, diffuse sky of sorts. If you were thinking, oh, hold up, upstairs there was a fountain in the centre of the
something like
courtyard.
that, yeah.
And that's exactly where... No, nothing like that. You can't
like
see
that.
any similar sort of parallels where you're looking at a shadow version or a... No.
I could take Cheeseman out. He could have a poke round her. Hello, Cheeseman. I'll open the bag of holding. How are you doing down there? Have you got enough cheese?
It's just a rat. It looks at you like...
He's lost his...
Interesting.
Oh, he's just a rat because of the netherworld.
Scuttles about a bit. He kind of looks at... It sits on the palm of your hand.
Netherworld's presence
if he can
is
fit.
not infused with the magic of the other place.
He just sort of snuffles about. He looks uncomfortable.
Yeah,
He
but
looks,
we had a good
he looks
relationship.
like he's got a question that it... It looks like he's got a question that he'd love to be able to ask you if he could only speak.
No, I do.
with
I
you,
speak
but-
with speak with
It
animals.
obviously doesn't work.
Oh, hello. Oh, it's you again. Hello. You got any? I've got one question. Very quick question. You got any cheese anywhere? A crumb of cheese. Any kind of
Okay,
cheese?
well, I'll ask him. Can he go up to the woman in the middle of the room and
Oh, her.
Yeah.
About that. You're saying there's cheese in the...
Climb on top of
there's
her
There's cheese in the arrangement here somewhere. I'm trying to work it out. Like a crumb of cheese or something.
yes, I'll
Is
give
she-
you some more cheese if you do that.
Is she carrying?
She
That's my
might be,
question.
she might be, but you will certainly
get
get
enough
cheese when you come back to the bag afterwards.
Cheeseman needs to
Okay,
be
I'll send him
more
off. Does he
involved.
go over to the woman?
He scuttles over. He sniffs around at the hem of her garment. She doesn't react to him being there. He looks over at you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
what am I
nod
meant to be,
and say,
What exactly?
point upwards. So
What do you want
just
me to
got to
do,
go up on top of her.
You want me to clamber up the side of this woman?
Yes.
Well, I suppose I could do.
Rolls a 6. He scrambles a bit at the hem of her garment and makes a little bit of progress, and then rather falls back. Do you want him to try again?
Yeah. Come on, Cheeseman, you can do it.
That's more like it. He gets up, he can scramble up, and he can clamber up her back, and he can clamber up onto her shoulder,
She doesn't notice
and he
him.
looks over at you,
Oh, well, sorry, what's happening here?
and then he sort of seems to talk to her. You presume he's asking her for cheese. There's no reaction. He looks over at you.
I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what's happening here.
Oh.
Where was the... sorry, what was the cheese again? Where is the cheese?
All right. Come back into the bag. I'll give some cheese later.
Oh, gee, that's excellent.
Yes,
He
yes.
scuttles back. He doesn't seem to have ever been at a point where he was dealing with her, as it were, rat-o face. He looks bemused and back into the bag.
Let's go.
So he had the same effect, basically.
Yeah, let's go.
I
Let's
just
go do
can't
something
help
else.
feeling we're missing something here.
Yeah, we're missing something, and I think that something might be somewhere else.
Before we go,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
gonna have a little bit of a listen down to the south. So Scaly did his sensor thing. I'm just basically gonna be very quiet and just listen.
Yeah, there's a keening kind of wail that's been ever present, but there's nothing intelligible, if that's what you're listening for.
So there's
nothing that sounds like it's the specific noise made by a creature or something moving about.
There is something out there. It's probably really dangerous. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
As you approach the vortex, you immediately feel kind of revived and repositivized. Yes,
Hang on, we've got to
like
be
you're
very
leaving
careful
this.
coming out of the vortex. Is it like that you could literally sort of pop your head through and have a quick look what the situation
No, it's
is
not like
outside?
that at all. You jump in and you're suspended. Time
Right.
has no meaning. That's your experience so far.
Oh,
You're
of
jumping
course,
in.
yeah, that was the way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Well, time stretches out, but time compresses. You feel hung and suspended between the various elements of the multiverse.
Straight back
You
up
could
the
be
wall
there
and
forever.
over
You
the-
could be there for an instant. But then, all of a sudden, you're back in the positive world. You emerge at the base of this tree in Krathanos' compound.
stealth.
Let's leave the broom cupboard and go back to the others.
Yeah.
Interview
Oh
with
my
vampire on the-
God.
Hello again.
That's
Hello.
only good.
Oh my lord.
Hello.
You get the sense that they're emerging from their,
Wow.
from their prison.
Okay,
That
well,
was-
took,
Forever.
So how was that?
Parker, Buggy,
Back over the wall.
give me some stealth checks.
18.
17. Roll.
Buggy, or is Buggy asleep?
Buggy gone already.
Buggy never made it back. I think
He's
Johnny's
still in
fallen
the
asleep in the
broom
broom cupboard. I'm just going to go back and get
He
him.
was, yeah. He's in the broom
Johnny,
cupboard.
left there forever.
Johnny,
Awesome.
Johnny.
Sorry. I was dozed off a bit there.
Yeah, let's go back. We'll go back.
I hadn't quite fallen asleep. I hadn't realised the others had gone, and then I was sort of dozing a bit doing this.
Yeah, so there we
Falling
go.
asleep, really.
Yeah. Well,
Can you get me a stealth check? Anyway,
Stealth.
now that you're
Right.
back.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a
excellent.
very good number.
17
Okay, I'm going to say that the
plus.
three of you successfully
Yeah,
sneak your way south and back to the others.
right.
I'm going to say you've been gone for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the same thing as when we went through with the spider or underneath the, in the jungle.
Ziggurat.
The ziggurat.
Under the ziggurat, sorry, yeah. It's a netherworld. Everything's dark. Interestingly, the crystals that we had were still shining brightly. We were inside the compound, and then in the middle of the room was an undead figure of a woman, and wherever we went around the inside of the compound, she always had her back to us, for everybody.
Burple,
yes.
can you give me a wisdom saving throw, please?
A wisdom saving throw. 9.
Do you want to use your Orc dice?
Yes, you should do.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm saving against. No, I won't.
No.
Let's see if you remember something. Is she something to do with the
moment-
hacker or something?
When
Is that what we're supposed to remember?
Parker is explaining his experience to you, Burple, and he describes the fact that there was this undead woman figure, you get this extraordinary sensation, this weird chill, like a wave that runs through you from the top of your grumpy head to the toes of your unhappy feet. You failed your saving throw. You feel like you could have resisted that strange sensation,
Right. So I'm unsettled
but on with your
by
story.
the sound of this undead woman, but I don't know why.
Yes, you saw Parker's mouth moving and the words come out, and you just felt gripped by this disconcerting awfulness.
Something from Burple's past?
Maybe.
Possibly, or wasn't there what was that battle?
Hmm.
There was a spider
Pesh.
and there was a woman.
Battles on the fields
Queen of Chaos.
Pesh.
The Queen of Chaos.
But let me just explain the rest first, just in
Yeah.
case something else.
No, we're not interested in the rest of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the fields of Pesh.
What was the feat that you did, Scaly, Paul? The divine, was it divine sense?
Divine sense, yeah.
Okay, so Paul did divine sense, and he was able to identify that this woman was undead, and also that beyond the gates to the south, it got more and more sort of misty, but there was obviously some presence out there, and some very sort of nothing that, I mean, I could, with listening...
What could be more Christmassy than that?
Yes, something out there. Oh, and let's get Cheeseman out, and then Cheeseman, basically, Johnny got Cheeseman to basically crawl up onto her shoulder, and I think Cheeseman experienced the same effect that we did about not being able to see her face. Although Cheeseman was a bit odd, Johnny had to do basically another talk with animals to be able
I
to
wasn't
speak to
awakened anymore.
Says Cheeseman as you
You weren't what?
retrieve him.
I wasn't awakened. I mean, it was different. I remember it slightly, but I don't. It's not. Has anybody got just a quick? I hate to
Some
distract you
cheese?
from the main question. I wonder if
Yeah,
anybody's got a
I'll give him some
slight
cheese.
crumb or morsel.
And then put him back in the bag and close it up.
Oh well, yeah, well, I find it.
And then
What
we...
did you guys do?
Yeah, so what did you guys do?
We chatted.
Just chat.
You know.
Right. Well then.
So can Dan not try some
Sounds
kind
like something
of
awkward has
arcana?
transpired while you... It's
Yeah.
fine, it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine.
My view
Yeah.
is that there's nothing we can do here.
So Krathanos is fucking lethal, and we've got these other lot who may kind of turn up.
Yeah, there's no sign of them currently. But
Is it likely if we did another one of these objectives, we'd go up a little? Not that would really help us.
The only problem
Good
with
question.
choosing one of the other objectives is we don't know which one is more difficult and which one is easier. So that's a 50-50
I think we'll soon find
chance that we choose another objective and discover that it's also not possible.
Yeah, because this isn't the most dangerous, is it?
No.
well, I hope I haven't given you too much of a steer here that you build all of your
No.
thinking on. I wouldn't get too distracted by the concept that there is an order or
No,
some kind
We have to consider, if we're going to do another one, that we may or may not just basically be, it's just changes as good as the rest, but not really going to make any difference.
Yeah.
One thing that I had thought about, which have we considered in any way that we can do something tricky with him in terms of like drugging him or something like that during the night when he's sleeping, that we can somehow stealthily nick the belt off him? Would that be an option that we could consider if we got some spells that we could use to,
I don't think I do.
somehow...
I think that's kind of reaching, to be honest. Let's see what I've got.
Don't know. I mean, it could be, could be a sort of D&D thing, isn't it? That, he's very, very
Tonight's
difficult
pitfall.
to attack
Yeah.
with all these gorillas, and so the actual fact that the task is basically to actually,
I was bought
do
for
something
Christmas.
different and be stealthy.
Ooh.
It's called Rourke, and it's a smoked English beer. You can open it, and we're going to discover what it's like live
Well,
on the hilltop.
I came up
Live
with
in the sense that
a novel way of doing this little
it smells
bit,
nice.
which is that I've got so much alcohol around me after Christmas. I mean, just bottles on the floor. I thought I could roll a d10 and then have it decided for me. Maybe if I rolled 2 dice, I would then have to mix the 2 drinks.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Okay.
Is it good?
Ugh.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely smoky,
Sounds
which
like
is
a recipe
quite
for
an odd
disaster.
experience.
Ace of
But it's very yeasty.
Oh, yeasty. I've got a whiskey smoker.
Anyway, sorry, I'm distracting from the main discussion.
We can't really negotiate with him, I don't think, because he's mad. And he's too powerful to fight. I mean, he raised up a monkey, didn't he?
Sorry, we're
Brought
talking
one
about
back
Mike
to
here.
life.
It's a
Did he
while
bring one
since I
back to
raised up a
life?
monkey, I have to
Sorry,
say. Probably my
He
mid-30s.
brought a monkey back to life, I think.
Mike, you've been bringing monkeys back
Is
to
that right,
life.
I have, yeah.
I've got 2 thoughts. I've got Wall of Force. I'm not sure that he has an answer to Wall of Force, but he can cast spells out of them, so he's still dangerous. But we could potentially Wall of Force, kill the monkeys, leave him on his own as the sole thing, and take our time, do it in a few actions, a few attempts. Secondly, I'm not sure whether Through the Vortex has an answer. Maybe if I go through, I seem to recognise this creature somehow, so maybe if I go through, I might get something that you guys didn't. And lastly, we've got 2 high-level spellcasters. If we coordinate, do 1 high-level spell. If he saves against that one, if he chooses to use the save, we do the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think.
He still gets high saves, though, doesn't
Well,
he?
he might have higher saves, but it's unlikely, and we don't remember how the extra actiony things work, that he can do it more than once. In between his actions or goes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think so. The chances are, if you, as Stan says, if you coordinate and launch 2 high-level spells where you think you have a chance that he might fail, he may be forced to use his action on the first, and that gives you a sort of better chance on the second.
Yeah, but you're burning a couple of spells.
You are.
Offensively, my highest thing is probably Otto's Irresistible Dance, which is not
What level is that?
earth-shattering, is it? Because he gets a save every round. 6th level. It buys a round, is what it does.
Yeah, it doesn't get a save when you...
Doesn't
it
get
doesn't
a save until
it
it's turn.
uses an action.
I've got
How many of
punishment.
those have you got?
1. I've got 1.
I've got
Can we try and
punishment.
take the belt off him while he's dancing?
What attitude-changing spells do we have?
What, as in charm type things, you mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Or is calm emotion still a spell? It was a spell once, wasn't it?
trouble is, I've got confusion,
Mm-hmm.
and I have...
Maybe we're not. We shouldn't be trying to kill him, but just trying to take the belt off him,
Yeah, or persuade him to give us the belt.
or just trying to prise it off him while he's
Okay.
distract him in some way and try and get
I
it off him,
have...
rather than trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I do have Shadow Law.
What's that do?
You can whisper a phrase that one creature that shares a language and can hear you within 30 feet can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to be within 30 feet. Doesn't sound very appealing to me. The target must make a wisdom saving throw DC 17. If it fails, the target is charmed by you for the next 8 hours, or until you and your allies attack it, damage it, or force it to make a saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Mike,
Yes.
how difficult would it be to get the belt off him?
Yeah,
If I was trying
I'm with you.
instead of attacking him, trying to use my action just to get the belt off him.
There's a precedent for this. When you were trying to grab the key that was dangling on a chain from the neck of the shadow spider, if you remember, the kind of crazy spider that you met in Akosiel's
Yeah.
tomb. Now, Uncle Buggie jumped up and grabbed it. I think we would make some kind of test. I would have to look at the circumstances. I think the critical thing, and something that I don't have necessarily in front of me, but that's why I have DMs, I guess, is what the mechanism is, right? I mean, is it like a girdle? Is it a belt in the sense that there's a catch or something that can be flipped to make it open and then fall away? I'm going to roll a d6. It's the way we always determine these things. On a 1 to 3, there's a clear mechanism situated at the front of the belt that looks like, were it to be flipped, the belt would fall open. On a 4 to 6, the belt is more difficult than that to open. Perhaps it's a little bit more intricate. Let's see what we get. Oh, it's okay. So it looks like it's a little complex to open.
Hold person.
You might need to take
Maybe.
a couple of actions.
Couple of rounds trying to.
Couple of
I don't mind
actions.
running up to him and trying to prise it off him while someone else
Right.
tries to distract him with spells or charms. Or
You might need to undo something like a clasp or something and then pull through some sort of fastening and then flip it. There might be 2 or 3 stages.
Could this be done while he's asleep?
Yes, you'd have thought that not doing it incredibly deftly would likely wake him up.
I'm thinking, sneak in there. Spellcasters have sort of defensive spells, that kind of thing at the ready, like your Irresistible Dance and stuff like that. Somebody sneaks in, performs the 2 actions on stealth, and then
Shouldn't we try my Shadow Law?
We could try that.
Yeah.
Maybe if we waited a little bit, we could see what's he do with the gorillas. Do they eventually end up back in their cages?
They are in the cages.
Yeah. I think I may have a slight loophole. Right, so it gets to choose to make a saving throw, but if it's asleep, it can't choose to make a saving throw. So if I get to within 30 feet and I whisper it, it gets a wisdom saving throw because it can still hear me, but it can't choose to save because he's asleep.
We're into some interesting
See what I
territory.
did there?
First of all, there's some interesting kind of like reality works one way for me. And okay, first of all, if Krathanos' ability to elect to make a save that he has failed is a conscious thing, it would seem reasonable to me that if he was not conscious, he would not be able to elect to make the saving throw. Fine. In terms of spells that require Krathanos to hear your enchanted words,
Yeah.
I think you have to hear it, as in not just it needs to be audible to you. Your magic words work on the subject's mind, right?
I'm not sure
And-
about that. If you're asleep and someone crashes a cymbal next to your head, you can
That wakes you
definitely
up.
hear it.
What about those?
Yeah, but if you're
tapes
asleep
people
and somebody,
listen to? You know, the hypnotic.
I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying that we've got to think about how that might work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you cast a suggestion spell on somebody who's asleep, telling them to wake up, does that work? Because surely they've got to understand your words in order to act upon them, not just have the words audible to them because you're close enough for them to hear. If the spell was clearly one where you were being persuasive, charming, whatever, then surely they have to consciously process what they're hearing in order to be seduced by your language, your magical language.
But
if, on the other hand, it's just a noise that causes awful trouble, then as long as they can hear it, they can hear it.
But it's a magical effect.
That
It
sounds
only
reasonable.
works up to 30 feet. So it's not just about hearing it.
Yeah, but
and it's very specifically says that shares a language and can hear you. Those are the criteria.
The idea that it shares a language suggests that they've got to comprehend.
Yeah,
what
so it
you're
needs to be able to
saying. It's not
understand
just a
you.
noise.
Yeah.
It's
Precisely.
got meaning
It's
to it, and
got
you
to be
need
processed and
understand what it
understood.
is.
Exactly. So then we get into an argument about how much you understand of stuff that's said to you while you're asleep. And I don't know that I would build your entire strategy around that working. That's what I would say.
Could we do a wall of force to pin him down while he's sleeping,
Yes.
and then try and grab the belt?
But then he's inside the wall of force with the belt.
But, I mean, couldn't you put it over the top half of him while he's lying down or
No.
something, so he can't sit up or move?
No, it doesn't work like that.
You
You
of course
can't,
has a
That's the
strict
thing
rules
idea,
about that.
you can't sculpt it like that. You can sculpt stone shape like that.
When he casts spells, does he speak?
They're spells, I presume so.
So he casts spells.
If they've got a verbal component, say that they have to be spoken.
Yeah. So silent spell might be quite effective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we could trap him in a wall of force with a silent spell inside the wall of force, and then kill the monkeys, and then deal with him separately.
Yeah. It's basically
Kiss cat.
trap him and then spank the monkey until you're,
Is the wall of force a
until
concentration?
you're home, as it were.
I don't think we need to kill him.
Is wall of
We
force a
don't- yeah, but
concentration spell?
How do you get the belt without killing him?
Is the wall of force a concentration spell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in order to do that, you'd be taken out of spellcasting action, and if you got spanked by a monkey and the wall of force goes down,
Yeah, but we wouldn't get spanked by the monkeys
round of
because the monkeys
monkeys
are in the cage.
is a
So we'd
terrible
be
thing.
killing the monkeys while they're in the cage. Is surely the idea.
And if we snuck up to him while he's sleeping, we'd have one round of trying to get the belt off, and then do something to distract him, or spells, multiple spells at once, to try and buy the second round to get the belt off, and then just get away.
Trouble is, he's so unpredictable.
What I want you to do more than anything is to try and use Otto's irresistible dance to incapacitate him while somebody else tries to get the belt off him. I would pay to see that.
Yeah.
well, if he runs on rails,
That's a good phrase. Paul.
Yeah.
Yes. The whole situation seems to sort of run like clockwork, or
it's on a loop.
like those clocks where when it strikes the hour, the people come out on the
Yeah.
little tracks and
So
you know,
if there
people
is
there.
a wall of force,
dirndl.
which then means that the monkeys aren't spanking, deal with the monkeys, and then I think Dan's kind of onto something here, and then it's about dealing with him. And maybe what it is then going away, letting him calm down, letting him fall asleep, and then enacting part two, taking it a stage at a time.
But he just brings the monkeys back to life. He did it already.
Not
Yeah,
if
we
we
take the bodies
remove them.
away.
He raised one back.
If we remove the bodies.
Shove them into the altered dimensional space. Why
Exactly.
don't I try going into the altered dimensional space first
All right.
to see what that woman
Yeah.
is?
The other thing is obviously if we mention that woman to
Well,
Burple
given-
again, does he need to make another save?
Probably.
Does he-
Could be
does
really
he have a
bad,
turn?
I
I
mean,
don't
if
know.
you're having to make saves at the mere mention of this woman, do you think going into that space isn't... I mean, maybe that's the trigger that we need, is that we have to go in there together and then
It's
some
the
action
knowledge
work.
of the existence of the woman seems to have been the thing that triggers Burple. He still feels odd about it, but it's not like every time you mention it.
Try and freak him out.
That could be really funny.
No. Just a thought, something that has dawned on me that I probably best get out there before we get too much further, Johnny, is bear in mind that Krathanos is somewhere between 25 and 30 foot tall. So just eyeballing it, I would say the belt is going to be about 15 feet off the ground when he's standing. So I'm just thinking about this plan. I'm not trying to close any avenue because I think actually that sounds like a prospect. But yeah,
I don't think it sounds like a
picturing this
Well-
idea that Uncle Buggie is somehow trying to do this.
Parker doesn't have a problem with vertical surfaces.
Right, exactly. So Parker, maybe whatever, or Buggy might have to be able to climb up his thigh. I mean, again, I'd pay to see.
Toss me up there.
Well, nobody tosses a dwarf. There's another thing, which
He's
is
not a
that
dwarf.
when he's lying down or sitting down, the belt isn't 15 foot off. And if Krathanos is asleep, what are the chances that somebody could unbuckle the belt, lay it flat, as it were, on the ground with him sitting on it, and then wake him up so he gets up, he doesn't realise that the belt's not on him, moves away from the belt, bish bash bosh, we get the belt, we dive into the zone of whatever it is.
We could have 3 people trying to get the belt off him simultaneously while he's doing Otto's irresistible dance.
Again, I could sell tickets for that. You'd have to put that on our Patreon if we had one.
Why don't we try the interdimensional space first?
With you.
Yeah.
That might trigger something.
Why don't we try the good old-fashioned commune route and see whether we can get some tips?
Good plan.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Off you go, Graham.
Ooh, I like
Commune.
that. Well done, Graham.
Oh, I'm going to have to look stuff up now. That's very annoying, Graham.
Is that going to work on this plane?
That's what I have to look up. Okay, your commune works.
Okay.
So I can spend half an hour.
No, I'm going to start with the first question. 3 questions, Mike. Question number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, question number 1.
In the context of our desire to obtain the belt of Krathanos, is there anything to be gained by entering the shadow world through the vortex thing?
That's a difficult one. Okay, I'm going to say no. What kind of answers am I giving you? Is it yes, no, and unclear?
Yeah,
I think so. Yep.
Okay, no,
Okay, so
with a small n.
that doesn't necessarily help us. Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe some benefit there that doesn't directly impact this, but some benefit.
Yeah. Next question.
If he's asleep,
Is it possible to take the belt
Is there any
without
scenario
fighting him?
Yeah, in which Krathanos will give us the belt?
Without
Yes.
fighting him? Oh, yes.
Okay. Any thoughts on the third question then?
No.
does it involve
Oh, I
an
see. That wasn't
exchange?
the third question.
So does that count as a
No.
third question?
No,
Sounds a
of
bit
course
like
it doesn't. This isn't
Oh.
the movie.
How many questions do we have? Is that 3?
2.
End of spell. On we go. Come on.
What about...
Sorry, he hates the druids. The druids put him in this situation, is that right? So maybe it's something to do with getting him the druids. He'll give us the belt if we deliver him some druids.
What about charms? Asking about the charm spell.
You mean, can we use a charm spell to modify his attitude towards us?
Or can we use a charm spell to persuade him to give us the belt?
Do you think you can polymorph the belt into something else?
No.
You haven't got polymorph object.
I think there's only one polymorph spell.
Did you ask he would exchange the belt for something? Did you ask that?
No, we didn't ask that question.
You haven't asked that question. I can't actually remember the first.
The first question was about going into the shadow world, and the second one
The
was,
second question was,
would we?
can he be
Can he be
Can you
persuaded?
do it without? Right. Yeah. Exactly. But you didn't specifically bring in the concept of an exchange.
No.
Okay, so he can be. Okay, let's see. Could we exchange something with him for the belt? Should we go for that question, or do we find
Go on
another?
then. Go on then. It's a good question.
Let's try that one, and we might as well use that one.
Okay. So can you lay it out for me, please?
Is there anything that we have or could easily obtain that we could exchange for the belt?
Yes.
Well, why don't we
Oh,
then?
that's interesting.
Why don't we ask him?
Mm-hmm.
Get a nonsensical answer.
No, we have to ask him. We.
Really, Graham? Well,
Maybe we can give him a scroll that says it's a charter that gives him permission to leave this place for the druids.
That's like the Wizard of Oz giving the Scarecrow a diploma.
What we really need is to be able to do it again and figure out whether we have the thing or we can obtain the thing.
He's not rational. He might.
Yep. Yep.
We could say
true.
that we obtain this from the druids. It's a one-use only scroll that will release him from the prison, but he will need to exchange it for something valuable. Without mentioning the belt, he could offer up the belt himself.
I don't think trickery is going to help us.
Yeah.
This person's very, very volatile. So I think we have a chance of finding some window of reason with him.
Do we have anything, I mean, just sort of think about our inventory of stuff that might be connected with his past or...
What is his past?
Well, that's what I was wondering. He's...
Well, you asked him about it.
Yeah.
He said that the druids, the Order of the Storm, struck a bargain with a deity called Deaf Watchmaker, their deity, in order to create this plane, and that the price that the Deaf Watchmaker exacted was that they would imprison Krathanos on the plane when it was created.
Right.
Do you think it might be the gems that we used to get here? Did we use all of the colours?
You used
We've
one
got
of each
loads of them
colour
though, haven't we?
to activate the portal, but you've got loads of. I think a minimum of. Let's not worry about it too much. You've got,
But we got enough that we
surplus.
could offer him the gems to activate the portal to allow him to exit.
It's not a bad idea.
Most definitely.
Thing is, we've got lots of ideas, but why don't we try and
Well, maybe we should try one of them.
try one of them. Off you go, Graham.
Shall we?
Yeah, why not? Off you go.
Okay. Is he awake?
I'll roll. 1, 2, he's sleeping. 3, 4, he is
Okay.
mumbling to himself. 5, 6, he is
Pick up
wandering around the keep, being odd and picking up sticks. Yeah. He is sleeping at this current moment. You can hear his titanic snores rumbling through the firmament. Do you want to wake him up, or do you want to exploit
Well, we
the
could
fact
leave
that
him a
he's asleep?
note for when he wakes up, which we could carefully write.
Okay, good. That's a really long conversation about how that note
I
is
tempted to try the
framed.
charm thing.
Yeah, it's worth a try. I mean, if nothing else, it might get him into a state where we can have a more recent conversation with him.
Okay, I'm going to sneak up to within 30 feet, Mike, and whisper. See if it works.
First things first, are you invisible?
Yes.
Well, can you give me a stealth check at advantage? I'm
Stealth.
thinking gorillas here.
stealth
I'm always
check
thinking about gorillas.
advantage. It's a 13 plus 10 because I'm invisible. 23.
Fine. You don't wake up a gorilla.
Okay.
Google it, man. Google it.
I am.
I need to Google it. Just decree that it
Okay.
works.
I think...
Therefore, your spam is probably immune to charm.
No,
No.
I don't think it's going to work. I'm sorry. I think it needs to be able to understand you. Looking at a couple of quick answers. The concept that you need to be able to speak its language, that drives me towards the conclusion that it needs to comprehend what you're saying to it, not just hear what you're saying to it. And I don't think it's in a position to comprehend what you say to it.
But it's in a relaxed
Sorry.
state, so it's like a suggestion. It should be doubly powerful, I would argue.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, I come visible, and I go
Okay.
up around like the side again.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna, I mean, I think you're going to be rumbled by the monkeys. The monkeys wake up, start going, and Krathanos awakes.
Yep.
Looks around blearily, says, and then starts stomping around the keep. What do you want to do now?
In his cycle, is it what's his most kind of chilled phase?
I mean, the most chilled, obviously, is sleep.
But yeah,
When he's not asleep, he's got stomping around and shouting,
hmm
and randomly thumping the ground with his monster
Careful.
todger, whatever it is, hammer thing, spiked hammer thing.
yeah.
And then he's got his general sitting around mumbling to himself. That seems to be the dormant state.
Yeah. So probably we need to wait for the sitting around mumbling to himself phase.
If you wait around,
Yeah.
he's sitting with his back to this pillar near the middle of the keep, and he's sort of, I don't know, he's just mumbling to himself and
hmm
Well, we could ask him what he
Introspective.
would like us to give him. Is there
Yes.
something he
We
would
can
like?
acquire for him.
And then
Okay.
we won't mention the belt.
Yeah.
But if we get the thing that he wants, we could then say we would like something from him of equal value without mentioning the belt.
Yes.
And hopefully he'll
I
offer
think
up the
that's a
belt.
good approach.
hmm
I think you finally had a good idea.
okay, so you're sending an emissary.
Well,
yeah,
we
a
could
probe.
shout.
I suggest something like Scaly 2 will be quite appropriate.
Why don't we just shout?
Yeah. From
Okay.
behind the wall, so he doesn't know exactly where to target
So
his
you're
spells.
shouting. What are you shouting?
You smell of wee.
Is there anything we can get you?
Great
Oh, mighty
Krathanos.
Krathanos.
He snaps out of his introspective phase. Is that you? Is it the small people?
It is,
Alas,
oh
it is.
mighty warrior.
That's correct. I am a mighty warrior. He stands up, starts stalking towards the gates of the keep. What say you? Have you come to apologize?
We have.
Of course.
Your apology is not accepted.
And we have come
Okay.
to make a peace
Well,
offering
we will try and
ask if there
apologise
is
again.
anything of value that we can acquire for you.
If you all speak at once, I can't decide which one of you to kill first.
Is there anything
Where
we
are
can
these voices coming from? You're on the other side of the wall. You hear him stomping towards the gate.
Is there anything we can acquire for you that would
My freedom!
convince you of our good intentions?
or would help you leave this place.
Help me?
Yes.
Some sort of sorcery, I suppose you're talking about. Is that the thing on the end of a stick talking to me?
Yes, it's the little person on a stick.
Are you a powerful sorcerer? You don't seem to be. Seem to be a bit small.
Small,
But
unfortunately.
if you could provide some enchantment that would free me of this place, yes. Or you could somehow transport me away from my prison.
Okay.
What is it that binds you
I
here?
haven't dimension door.
That kind of spell doesn't work here.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
Yeah.
going to mention the gems.
Well, we do
Graham.
have all these gems that got us here. Maybe they would get you back.
Magic crystals? Show me.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Sure.
give him any. Just show him.
Wave some
Show him
around.
them.
You're flying into view. I mean,
yeah. I'll fly into view.
Oh, he looks at you.
These got us here. Maybe they would get you out.
I don't understand. What are these things? They look like mere baubles.
Yes. They activate the
They
transporter.
The what?
They activated the transporter that brought us
transporter?
here.
Yes.
With Jason Statham?
Yes.
Jason Statham is going to come here and drive me home?
You have to get in the boot of his Audi, though.
So what say you, O mighty Krathanos?
Is there some kind of portal, some kind of door out of this place?
There is.
And these gems would transport me through it?
We think so. They brought us here.
Well, why didn't you give them to me before?
You didn't give us a chance.
Did you say I just slept with my aunt?
I did not.
Is that what you just said?
I did not.
My God! What a disgusting suggestion. Roll D6.
Oh, God.
I'll let it slide for now.
Okay, good.
Can you take me to this portal?
Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps we should discuss a reciprocal agreement. Obviously, these are valuable for us. Perhaps there is something you might be willing to exchange for these almighty powerful baubles.
Did you say I've slept with a womble?
No, he did. I'll point to Graham.
So you will take me to this portal, you will give me these gems, and you want something in return?
Well, I think that was
That's
is
the usual
only
way
fair.
of doing business.
I presume now we've got multiple heads poking up over the side of the wall. Or what do you see? Fair you think would be a fair price?
Go on, say it.
Just
You
roll the
suggest
D6,
it.
Mike.
You suggest.
All the gorillas are like,
No.
find something to look at on the floor of their cages, like scratching about. Is that little thing in the corner? Have you got something that would be a fair bargain?
Please, you suggest something, O great Krathanos.
A great crit of what's it?
Great Krathanos. Please, you make a suggestion. A fair exchange.
I think a fair exchange would be one of my fair monkeys. Which one would you choose? Would you choose this monkey number one? Wanders over.
Oh no, no,
To Televere.
no.
not
Monkey
a living,
number one is
not a living
powerful
creature.
and slim.
No, we're thinking of an
I
object
think it would be
rather than
difficult to accept such a large gift. We were thinking something more size appropriate.
Oh,
Maybe something by which we could remember your greatness.
one of my hairs, perhaps.
Yeah.
He's like looking about himself. There's basically his massive hammer, right, and his belt. So he's sort of looking down. One of my sandals. Yes, absolutely. In fact, you could have both of them. How about that? They are the
Should we say
sandals
it
of the
needs some
mighty.
magical property. Yeah.
They are indeed.
He takes one of
the
them off
gems are
and he holds it
magical.
up and he sort of drapes it over the forearm. Notice the beautiful
The
aging of
gems
the
are
leather.
magical.
You want something magical of mine?
We're thinking of something of equivalent value. These gems are powerful magic.
Probably miss the sandals more than you think.
Thanks for the advice, Dr. Scholl over there. Oh, now what magic do I have? Oh, magical things. Well, I have my hammer, of course, but you can't have my hammer.
No.
I have this. He takes from his waist a bag of holding that he'd drawn a minotaur's head from before. Well, a bull's head, but you had to presume it was a minotaur's head. I have this. He sort of holds it towards you.
Already got one.
It's the bag where I keep all of my little snacks.
Oh.
Would this be a fair bargain for your gems?
Unfortunately, we already
I'm
have one
perfectly
of those.
prepared to
Too high a price.
exchange something of fair value. But I would require you to escort me to this portal to show me how it operates.
Yes, of course.
It will be fun. We could all travel together.
Yes, looking forward to it.
That would be fun.
But not the bag,
Not the bag.
not the sandals.
Not the sandals.
No, not the monkeys.
Not the hammer.
Not the hammer.
Yes.
Not the monkeys.
Anything else?
Not your
you can think
hair.
of?
He's looking. He's like turning around. Dear, we seem to be out of options, really.
Well,
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is my belt, but of course you couldn't have that. That's at the very essence of my being.
Oh, is it?
My wonderful belt I would only exchange for two things.
What was that?
Oh, what are they?
Limitless wealth is option one.
Yeah.
And one of you as my slave, minion, and potential meal.
Oh, well, that can be
Is
an
option
option
two.
too.
Buggy.
Always available. Yes, he's very
Preferably
good.
one of the larger ones.
Parker's quite tall.
Parker's quite tall and tasty.
Let's have a look at him.
No.
Which one of you looks a little bit like a lizard?
Scaly O'Toole.
Crunchy.
Good choice.
Crunchy on
good
the
choice.
outside, chewy in the centre.
Oh, all right then. I'll do it.
Excellent. Send him forwards.
I will light up a cigar and I'll walk towards him.
You're going to have to hop into the bag. He goes down on one knee and he holds the bag out in front of him.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good idea.
In the bag, he kind of gestures you forwards. Is Scaly going to do it? Paul's got a decision to make, and I think
I don't know about that.
that we should find out.
I think I know what I'm
Paul
going to do.
decides to offer himself up. Well, don't tell us now. Spoiler alert. Then we pick things up next week.
It's horrible, this one.
What do you mean it's horrible, this one?
Well, could I... Is
there
it
we are.
possible to survive in a bag of holding?
Not for long.
Not for very long.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Library of Last Resort and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Library of Last Resort was written by Nicholas Logue. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!